everyone, and so exciting to see everyone. I've managed to chat to a few people, and I believe it is your first COT for many of you. And I think COT is one of the most important resources for every single EXCO member. So without further ado, I'm going to just tell you a little bit about myself. I have been a Toastmaster since June 2020. I'm currently an area director of P4 and currently in the role of VPE, but I have a lot of experience with the SAA role as well. I'd like to just run around the room quickly to just get everyone to just say a short little thing about yourself and from which club you are. And I will start from left to right on my screen. Can we start with Malisela?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Malisela from SARS, Transformers Toastmasters. I'm failing you. Less than 2 months. I'm looking forward to understand and learn more about this role and contribute positively towards the smooth running of our club. And yeah, I'm ready and prepared. Thank you.
Great, that's fantastic to hear. Next on my screen is Linda.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Linda Dent. I'm a member of Gold Reef Toastmasters in Johannesburg South. I've been a member for around a year now, and I joined due to the alliance with Rotary, of which I've been a member for many years.
Oh, great, great. Welcome, welcome. And next is Nosipo.
Morning, Claire. Morning, everyone. I'm Nosipo Mahai, currently VPE for Kwasa Toastmasters, but we just struggling with this role in our club. So I'm just here as a backup.
Okay, great. Great to hear. Is that the next one on my screen is Utateng? Did I say that right? I'm attempting.
It's Ituteng.
Ituteng.
Hi everyone, my name is Ituteng Hopani and I joined Toastmasters in June this year, and I'm part of the new club called the Midstream. So the SAA role is my second role, as I'm also a treasurer. Thank you.
Great, double role. Well done on stepping up. The next on my screen is Brenda.
I think Brenda's just joined us from the main room.
Okay.
So Brenda, we're just introducing ourselves.
Okay, we'll wait for Brenda to get sorted there. Now on my screen, I've only got half a name. It's Nangamso. Nangamso. I only had up to the S. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Nangamso Deise. I recently just joined Kwasa Toastmasters, and I am a Toastmasters from high school. I did the youth leadership program in high school, so I joined this club just to upgrade a little, and this is my first time being assigned to an executive role. Thank you.
Great, welcome. Anka, is there anything you would like to say?
Yeah, sure. I'll just introduce myself. I'm Anka Stowe, and I have been a Toastmaster for about 4 or 5 years now. Currently the Toastmasters Leadership Institute chair. So today's event is thanks to me and my team. So yeah, that's what I'm doing around these parts at this stage. Other than that, I'm a VPM as well.
Oh, great to hear. Brenda, are you able to share with us? No. Okay, so without further ado, I'd like to welcome you all in the SAA role or Sergeant at Arms role. Okay, is that Brenda's? I think she's having a problem with her audio. Oh, there we go.
Hi, okay, I'm Brenda Leveni. And I joined, I think maybe 2 months ago through CMAS. I work for CMAS Medical Aid. So I'm fairly new to everything. I've got absolutely no clue. Thank you.
Well, we're here to hopefully answer all of your questions. And of course, any questions that may crop up, you're welcome to message us at a later stage or email us. And of course, there's plenty of resources. I always like to think of the Toastmaster members as a family, and we're all here to grow together. So the Sergeant at Arms role has slightly differed.
Just before you continue, but I see we've had one last latecomer, Pavith, who's just joined us.
Actually, there's two.
Oh.
There's a Busimuzi as well.
Hello.
Busimuzi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you.
I'm good. My name is Bosimosi. I'm from Soweto Siaka and EXCO.
Okay.
I'm part of the team. Yes, as an SAA.
Fantastic, welcome. Then we've got the screen, Pavith.
Good morning, how are you?
Good, thank you.
I'm fine, thanks. My name is Pavit Sarju and I'm part of the
Would you
Kailami
like to
Tribe
introduce
Club.
yourself to everybody?
Am I muted?
No?
No, there was
can you
just a slight delay between the two of you that I could notice. If you could just repeat yourself, please, Pavith.
Okay, my name is Pavit Sarju. I'm part of the Kailami Tribe Club and I'm a sergeant at arms.
Fantastic, welcome. And then there's one more. I see Ayanda has joined as well. Ayanda, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ayanda Butelezi, and I'm the Sergeant at Arms for the Communicators for Good Club.
Oh, great. So that's fantastic. So just for the new people, obviously with regards to online now, the Sergeant at Arms role has changed, and a lot of people use that role as the Zoom master. Because the main function of a Sergeant at Arms, which we will touch on, but I'm going to touch on it basically now, was to do venue setup, to set up the location, to make sure the venue was available, to obviously set up chairs and tables for the venue, to set up the lectern, to make sure the sound checks were all in place. And this is now carried over onto the Zoom platform for many clubs. And there is now an extra added thing where people are now going to be in hybrid meetings. So now their task is doubled. And this is why it's so important that when you're in an EXCO, lean on your fellow EXCO members and lean on fellow club members. So without further ado, we are going to go straight into the presentation. We're going to go through, and if you feel like you would like to put a chat in the chat box, you're welcome to. I will have question and answers sessions in between, and then there will be another one right at the end. So I'm going to start sharing the presentation. Just to, oh, I don't have sound, but I always click on share sound just in case. Right, can everybody see the screen?
Yes, the only thing...
Yes, we can.
Ah, there we go.
Yes.
Cool.
Is that fine?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So as I mentioned before, we are the Sergeant at Arms, and this is your club officer training, of which there are normally 4 in a year, and I encourage you all to attend every single one if possible, if not 2, because as mentioned as well, these play a huge part in your DCP points, not points, sorry, goals. So you have your training goals for every year, and it assists your club in getting through the DCP. That is the Distinguished Club Performance Dashboard. And I think we can touch on it a bit later, because it's very important for yourselves as EXCO members to know how the dashboard plays a role in your club becoming distinguished, select distinguished, or president's distinguished. So we're hoping for my slideshow to move. There we go. What we're going to cover in today's session, we're going to look at the Sergeant at Arms role. We're going to look at the Sergeant at Arms responsibilities and, of course, resources that are available to you as the Sergeant at Arms. So I'd just like to chat to everyone and ask you to just think about this. What do you think is the essence of the Sergeant at Arms role? And what are the responsibilities, do you think, of the Sergeant at Arms? And perhaps think about, do you know what the club mission is? Is there anybody who would like to give an idea? Sorry, Anka, I'm going to ask for your help now because I seem to not be able to see anything or anyone.
No worries. Keeping an eye out. You've asked for the club mission.
Yes, is there, or if anybody would like to touch on any of the other questions?
I'm not seeing any hands, so feel free
Okay.
to unmute yourself and start talking if you like. Okay, Malesela has raised a hand.
Okay, perfect. Malesela?
Good morning. I'll just put one on the first question, the essence of the Sergeant at Arms. For me, I think it's just to maintain order. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right, to maintain order, but in a nice, friendly way. We are family here. Yes, in a way. And when I look at transferable skills, I always liken the Sergeant at Arms almost to a sort of logistics manager, because a lot of us are in the corporate world and we'd like to liken the Sergeant at Arms to a logistics manager, because you're involved in before the meeting, you're involved in aspects during the meeting, and then obviously after the meeting. And we're going to touch on all of those in the responsibilities. We're going to focus on the first two questions a little bit later, but I thought let's just go through the club mission. It's very important. And as a Sergeant at Arms, we suggest that you read this out at the beginning of every club meeting. So the mission of the club. The mission of a Toastmasters club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every individual member has the opportunity to develop oral communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth. And I think that touches on the core values of Toastmasters, because a lot of people only think it's only about speaking, and it's actually more about leadership as well. And being on the Exco is a fantastic way to enhance those skills. So if we look at the Sergeant at Arms role, your Sergeant at Arms is the first role player who starts the Toastmasters meeting. I also want you to be familiar with the fact that I will interchange between meeting and event, as a lot of clubs refer to it as an event as opposed to a meeting. They like to think of an event as being more fun. And in this same aspect, we will change the word agenda to program, because if people say I'm going to a meeting, they don't get as excited. But if you say I'm going to an event, they get a lot more excited. So the role of the Sergeant at Arms is simple and short, but equally as important. And that's very important to remember. It's not a downplayed role at all. It's vital in the running of your events. During the role, you will cover the points that we will go through on the next slide, so that the start of the meeting is impactful and that your guests, your non-Toastmasters, potential guests, potential members will know how a meeting or an event starts, how it runs, and how it ends. Right. So these are very important parts of your role, and these you will do at the start of the meeting. You will obviously introduce yourself as the Sergeant at Arms, important to start on time. You will then welcome your Toastmaster members and guests. You will explain the ground rules, which we will go into a little bit later. You will mention the Toastmasters mission. You will announce the meeting as open. Often they have a gavel, and you will use the gavel in a physical meeting. And then you will introduce the next person who's speaking, who may be your president of the club or straight into the Toastmaster of the day. And right there at the bottom, you see as well that I've included Zoom Master, because as the other people are doing all the other roles, you will be the Zoom Master, you will open the room, and you will close the room. So we've put here, because we've got the in-person script. There are two different slides I'm going to go through now. The first is the in-person script, and the second is a slight amendment for the online, because we've now got clubs that are meeting physical, hybrid, and online.
Claire,
So
sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to shoot out back to the main room. Lebogang
Okay.
actually arrived about 3 or 4 minutes after you started. So I'm going to allow him to take over for co-facilitation.
All right, perfect, thanks.
Yes.
Right. Sorry, Lebo, I can't see you, but I'll just continue and you can jump in whenever.
Yes, hi Claire, hi everyone. Sorry, my apologies.
Okay, so let's jump back into where we were. I'm going to have a mini Q&A session for you shortly, everybody. So do not fear. I am waiting for those burning questions. And Lebogang, I'm going to ask, please, if you wouldn't mind looking in the Q&A session for hands, as I cannot see the participants on the screen.
No problem.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Right. So as mentioned, with the change into online, the script has adapted slightly, but there are many clubs that still have what we call the hybrid meetings. So they have in-person and online meetings. And then one day we're all going to go back to the in-person meetings, although I think hybrid is going to will be more of the norm, because many clubs have members spread all over now. So a typical greeting, good morning or good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests and visitors. My name is Claire and I will be the Sergeant at Arms for today's meeting. I welcome you all to another exciting event of the XYZ Toastmasters Club. And you would lead the applause. Some clubs like to do it this way, some clubs do the wave, but you would lead the applause. Then you would say, before the start of this meeting, I would like to mention 3 ground rules which we follow in our Toastmasters meeting. My slide's not heavy. Please turn off your mobiles or put them on silent mode. As Toastmasters, we do not talk about sex, religion, or politics. Please refrain from discussing these topics. And please do not crosstalk or have private conversations during the event. So those are basic. You may have a few more ground rules. It's not limited to 3, but those are the 3 main ones that we talk about. Now, in terms of the online meeting, that is where the two greetings or the script would differ. So for the online meetings, because of this pandemic, you may change the ground rules to, as Toastmasters, we don't talk about sex, religion, and politics. Please refrain from discussing these topics. Please make sure that you are on mute when you are not speaking. Please turn off your video if you need to step out of the meeting, or if you are eating or drinking. You may add some more. Often they add a bit of fun to the online meeting. In our meeting, we always refer to and the bathrooms. I'm sure you all know where the bathrooms are, to the back and on your left, or to the back and to your right, whichever way you're facing. So it's always a bit of fun to add a little bit of humor into there as well, because we like to have fun at Toastmasters. So that's where those two slightly differ in the middle where it comes to the ground rules. You would then continue, as everyone in their life has a mission to achieve their goals. Likewise, our Toastmasters Club has a mission. The mission of our club is to provide a mutually supportive, positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop communication and leadership skills, which foster self-confidence and personal growth. And that again, you'll see is the club mission. With this, I announce the meeting is open and I hand over the stage to our Toastmaster for the day, Toastmaster Lebogang. You would then lead the applause again and everyone will follow. And the next person will take over. It doesn't have to be word for word on that script, but it just gives you the general idea of introducing yourself, reading about the ground rules. You welcome everybody. You then read out the club mission, and then you declare the meeting open and hand over to the president. As mentioned before, the Sergeant at Arms role has now, with the online edition, now also become a Zoom master role for many clubs. And it makes sense, as opposed to if you were in a physical venue, you would be setting up the venue, you would be organizing the venue and sending out the details of each venue. The same with Zoom now, is you would make sure the room is open. You would send out the login details before a meeting. So when we look at the slight adaptions, obviously, when you have a venue, you liaise with that venue's coordinator. Now, with a hybrid or the online, you have your online platforms. Obviously, the biggest one that is used by Toastmasters is the Zoom platform, but you also get many corporates that are using MS Teams or Google Meet or Skype or GoToMeeting. As the Sergeant at Arms, it's important for you to know the account login details, and you may be using your club account or you may be using the division account. And you would then share these details on your WhatsApp groups for your club members. Then there is Zoom training. Now, if you type into YouTube or you look on your Toastmasters resources, you will find Zoom training there. For our purposes, I'm sure that we'll be able to find a link and share it on the SAA group. And we can do that a little bit later. Are there any questions so far? Sorry, Lebogang, I can't see the participants at the moment.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, we have Malesela.
I'm going to stop share.
Malesela has raised a question.
Yes, Malesela.
Yes. No, actually, I'm glad that you have touched on the Zoom training, because I, for one, I do not know where to start, how to start and organize a meeting and have the codes and control it and run through it and share things and all those things as the meeting continues. I think I'll be more interested in it as one of the first things, because I think it's the key and fundamental of my responsibility.
And the question?
No, it was just, it was just a comment.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. And we have Ayanda as well. Ayanda Buthelezi.
Good morning. With regards to the mission statement, you've mentioned that it's the role of the SAA to kind of read it out. However, in our club, we have it in the program and it's assigned to be read by anyone in the event who would like to read it out. So I just wanted to ask which method is correct to read out the mission statement.
You mean the mission statement of the of Toastmasters?
Yes.
Wait, I didn't understand. Like you are saying that we are not allowed to, like you say, stated somewhere that we are not allowed to read it out.
So in the presentation, it was mentioned that the mission statement is read out by the Sergeant at Arms, right? However, in our club, the Sergeant at Arms doesn't read it out. It's assigned to, so in the program, the reading of the mission statement is assigned to anyone who would want to read it out. So the Toastmaster of the day would say that we have a mission statement. Is there anyone who would like to read out our mission statement? And then anyone would then volunteer to read it out. So I just wanted to confirm which method of reading out the mission statement is correct, quote unquote.
Okay, great question. Can is someone does someone have an answer to it? Okay, I'm not seeing any hands. Like anyone with an okay. I think it would depend on club to club, right? Claire, like I'll give you to respond to the. I think it would depend from club to club. My club, Rustenburg Toastmasters, we ask that a visitor to read it out. The reason being, we want to involve the visitors or the guests coming into our club. Some they prefer that a Toastmaster set the tone, as Claire has mentioned. The Sergeant at Arms to set the tone. Remember, you are the first person that you will be speaking, and the tone of the meeting will depend on the Sergeant at Arms. Claire, your input, please.
Yes, I think sorry, I just had a bit of an issue. I think it depends on the club, and there is no right or wrong. I know that there are many clubs that have it on the program, the agenda, and then they read it at the beginning as well. But I think it's very important, and I don't think it really matters who reads it. As long as you are reading it out, because remember, we also, when we've got guests, we are showcasing for the guests so that they can see what's going on.
Thank you.
Do you have another question for Claire? Or for okay, some of the questions, if one of the participants have an answer, you are more than welcome to help out, because this is more like a discussion.
Yes, is everyone happy with that? Shall we continue?
I think they're
yes,
happy.
we can continue.
Okay, great. There is, if you do sort of think of any more questions in between, we will have a Q&A session right at the end. Oh, I see Nangamso has raised her hand.
Hi, hello. I did put up my hand at first, but and then I lowered it, and then I placed my question in the chat box. Can someone please note me?
Okay, Lebogang, can I ask you to answer that as I continue?
Okay, she asked a question. Okay, my question is just a clarity seeking question. I just want to know, how can we access the presentation slides and recording? My network kicked me out, and for the moment, oh, okay. We will share the slides and the recording link after the meeting, and
Yes,
we are also going to share, some other resources that you can use. We have a WhatsApp group which we are going to share as well. The link to that, and the slides and this recording, we'll share them in that WhatsApp group. Thank you. Claire, over to you.
Okay, great. So we're going to continue now, and there will be, as I mentioned, another Q&A session right at the end. We're now going to look at the Zoom Master or SAA responsibilities. So before the meeting, when you've got a physical meeting, you obviously have to set up the venue. You have to make sure the venue is available. and you have to liaise with the coordinators there. With regards to Zoom, you would then have to have the login details. So as the SAA, you would then verify the login details, the ID and the password, and you would verify the venue. You would send the reminder in the club's WhatsApp group or any other social media platforms that you use. It does say here, log in or arrive at least 15 to 20 minutes before the expected time. Obviously, in a venue, if you have to set up the venue, you may like to arrive a little more than that. And with the hybrid option, people are saying they're arriving about half an hour before to set up and run the tests to make sure everything is in working order. The first couple of times, I believe, though, you're going to look at an hour before until you get more familiar with the process. You need to meet and greet the guests in both instances, the visitors as well as your club members, either as they come into the virtual room or as they arrive at the venue. And you will get the agenda or the program from the VPE. And I find often in these situations, the VPE is the one who has shared it on the platforms, but you as a sergeant might like to share it 5 minutes into the meeting because you are aware of anyone who has come in after the start, and you might like to share it before the meeting in the chat. When we look at a physical venue, you would then make sure that there are enough printed copies and either have them placed at each person's chair or alternatively on the welcome table as they enter the room. Now, during the meeting, or just
Claire?
before, yes.
Sorry, Claire. Just to add there, like for preparation of the meeting, we must also remember to adhere to the COVID regulations, and also like especially for the hybrid meetings, because we'll be meeting in person. So remember the COVID regulations and the venue that you are meeting at. They'll give you some guidelines and probably some sanitation. Thank you.
Yes, no, thank you for that point as well. You're going to set up the room. So if you are having a hybrid meeting in the physical venue, you need to ensure that the correct spacing is available. Normally a venue will provide the sanitation, but it's always advisable to take along some yourself. And you need to, as the Sergeant at Arms, ensure that every single member that is at that physical meeting adheres to the COVID regulations with social distancing and the wearing of masks, which is vital because we don't want to be labeled as a place that allows COVID to grow and be spread. We don't want Toastmasters events to be labeled super spreaders. Thank you for that point, Lebogang. So before the meeting, obviously in a physical venue, it's a lot easier when the speakers need to speak, but you would still have to make sure, do they have anything that they need to present? Have they sent it to you as the Zoom master or the Sergeant at Arms if you need to share it? And that would include in the venue, you may need a projector, cameras, microphones, speakers for the setup. You would then ask the speakers on the Zoom platform if they need co-host rights, because if they need to share a presentation, some of the speeches entail showing presentation software, visual aids. The topics master may have their topics on a slideshow, and you may need to ask the Toastmaster of the day. Linked to that, it is often a good idea, especially on the Zoom platform, to ask the speakers and role players to test their audio, especially the speakers, because when it comes to them speaking, you don't want delays during the event. So this should all be done before the event, and we encourage speakers to log on before an event. And that's where that 15 to 20 minutes before a meeting comes into play. You would open the room and the speakers would come in and test their audio and their video and get the appropriate distance from the camera so that they'd be able to present. As the Zoom master, you are a host, and it is always advisable to have at least 2 co-hosts, especially if you have other roles to perform as well. Now, this bottom one is something that you would maybe share with the VPM or assist the VPM with, and you would send the president the names of the guests and visitors so that the president can mention those names in the opening of the meeting. A VPM often also steps in for this role, but I'm sure that when a lot of guests are around and the VPM is trying to chat to them, it would be nice as well if you would help the VPM by giving those to the president. As I know, when you arrive in a meeting, it's so great to feel welcome when someone greets you. And that's a very, very important aspect. About making people welcome, showing them the value, and then perhaps they will become members at a later stage. Then after the meeting. During the meeting, obviously, as the Zoom master, you would need to admit people into the meeting, trying not to disrupt the meeting too much. You would also keep an eye on things to make sure everything is running smoothly, be aware of any technical issues that may come up, and be able to step in as needed. And this is where you would also rely on your fellow EXCO members or fellow club members to assist if they are a bit more expert in the technology field. As mentioned after the meeting, in person is different to what you see on screen. You as the Sergeant at Arms would be arranging maybe some photos together with the VPPR for the public relations. You would help set up things if they want to stand by the banners. And that's something I meant to mention in the beginning as well. In physical meetings, clubs often have banners that they attach to the lecterns, or they put up those pull-up banners for their clubs. So you would be perhaps required to move those around for photo opportunities for your VPPR. On the Zoom platform, you would perhaps ask everyone to switch on their videos. You would select the grid view and you would take a screenshot of the attendees. You could have formal ones, fun ones. I actually attended a hybrid event where we were online, and instead of splitting the two, they got all the people to pose in front of the big screen, and they took a photo of the people in the venue standing in front of the big screen, and you could see everyone online as well, which is also a fun aspect, and it makes you all feel like you were part of one event as well. Then remember, as the host, you cannot just drop off in the middle. Sorry, am I back? Hi, am
what is that, Claire?
No, sorry, I saw on my screen it said my connection was unstable, so I just paused. I just wanted to make sure.
No, you are,
okay.
You are good.
I'm good.
Thanks.
Remember, as the host, when you end the meeting or the event, it ends for everyone. So if you end the meeting and you drop off, it closes off the meeting. It's very important to remember that you need to check with everybody else. Sometimes expos like a debrief afterwards. You may have guests that want to stay a little longer to ask any questions that they were too afraid to ask in the event. So my suggestion is to just double check that. Once everyone starts saying bye and dropping off, you can ask the president, or the president must include in their honor point at the end if there was anyone who would like to stay after the event and ask any questions, you're welcome to do so. And then obviously as an exco, you will know if you're going to have a debrief after your event or if you're going to leave it for another time. And then you as a sergeant at arms need to monitor that and don't just cut people off. The one day I didn't realize I was the only host left, and I wasn't the sergeant at arms in that meeting, and I ended the meeting and it cut people off in the middle of a discussion. So just be very mindful of that. Does anyone have any questions? I'm going to stop the share while we just check for the Q&A. Anyone have any questions on the responsibilities?
Claire?
Yes.
Can I add something?
Yes. Sure.
How many Yes. How many of the clubs like do polls for, let's say, the best speaker, best table topics, best evaluator? This question is to everyone like in here.
Yes.
Do you guys do that? Do you have the best table topics or the best speaker?
Yes, we do.
Yes,
in our club.
we do it. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, and is there something else that you add to that? Please say your name and then state the club and what do you do at your club?
Okay, I'm Ayanda from Communicators for Good. What we do is at the end of every topic, we have, so in the prepared speeches, after the prepared speeches, there is an assigned person who does the vote counting. So then everyone will send their votes to that person and they will tell you all the votes for the table topics as well. The same, after all the table topics, then the Toastmaster of the day will say, please send all your votes to whoever has been assigned. At the end of all the evaluations, then they will say, please send all the names to the person who is assigned. And then there is a section at the end after all of the evaluation feedback. There's a session that we have that is awards and recognition. And then the Toastmaster of the day will announce who the winner of all the sections is.
Wow, that's awesome. You know, there is an easier way of doing it, and Zoom offers you an opportunity to do polls, but you can only do it if you have the rights to the account that you are using. Meaning you have to log into the browser on Zoom I think it's .us, and then log in using it. If you're using the district's account, you can go to like your meeting, you enter your meeting, and from your meeting, you go specifically to, like you scroll down, there will be different options. One of them is polls. And you can select that polls and you can add, like you can create as much as 50 polls. But I would advise that maybe like limit them to 3. 3 meaning, or like if you have another role, 3 meaning the what's it called? Yeah, the 3 would be the best speaker, best table topics, and the best evaluator. If you have other awards that you want to give out, you can add more. But the next meeting, you just change those particular functions. Sorry, you just change the previous poll. You get me? So you change the previous poll and then you just change the names. You don't create additional best speaker, you don't create the best evaluator, the best again. You just create one and then you just amend the names. And like if you do more, sometimes like I saw yesterday, I was in another division's Zoom account and the previous events was there. So when I tried to open, there were about 6. The 3 that I just changed and activated, because you can activate and deactivate. So, but sometimes if the person did not deactivate, then you are like you'll be seeing the other polls which are not relevant to your particular meeting. So remember to deactivate or have 1 prepared speeches, 1 evaluations, 1 table topics, and 1 other whatever, like maybe the best speaker or the best whatever. I don't know like what other clubs do have. But so for you to have that, you need to have the admin rights. So if you are not the host for your meeting, you won't be able to do that. And the Zoom master is the host, and you should get the right, and they should trust you enough to give you those login details. Thank you.
Thank you, Lebogang. It's very important and it's a great tool. I know that our club recently used the poll. We wanted to change the meetings as well. So you can use it for a variety of things, the voting for the best speaker, the voting for the best evaluator, table topic speaker, etc., but also for other things related to the club that may affect the members. You know, we were having a meeting on, I'll tell you, we were having a meeting on a Tuesday, on the second Thursday of the month and the fourth Tuesday, because we had accommodated when we were a small club, there were only 8 members. Now that our club had grown bigger, we were noticing that people were getting confused. So we amended that now to be on the second and fourth Tuesday, but we did it by a poll. Which days do you want? Do you want a Tuesday and a Tuesday, a Thursday and a Thursday, or remain the same? So that was the first part of the question. The second part was, would you prefer it to be in the second week or the fourth week? So you can use a poll for a variety of things and get the answers immediately. As the Zoom master, it will come up on your screen. You may decide to discuss the results when it comes to best speaker, obviously, then you would discuss with the exco if you're able to announce it immediately, or do you announce it at the end of the meeting or on your social platform. But obviously certain issues relating to the club, you would then probably discuss at your club exco. And remember, that's also a very important part of your responsibility, is being on the exco, attending the exco meetings, and it should be once a month. Lebogang, anything else?
Yes. Claire earlier mentioned that you as a Zoom master, you need to take pictures, right? So we have Mac, we have Windows. So I would like to find out from you, how do you take pictures? Because taking picture, let's say you are using your laptop and taking a picture with your cell phone is not ideal. The picture will not come out right, right? Yes. So does anyone would like to share how do they do a screenshot?
Does anyone know how to? I know how to. Does anyone else?
Yeah, let's give someone else an opportunity and mention the platform, whether you are using it on Windows or you are using it on Mac. We are just sharing. Okay, I see Nozipo raised her hand. Nozipo.
Hi, Lebo. I'm raising my hand because I've never been an SAA, so I don't know any technical stuff. So I thought you guys were going to show us some of these things, because we are really struggling in our club with this role. We don't have an SAA. If you know, they forever not there, or
you are the SAA.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sure. Okay, Nozipo, okay, Claire, can do you care to share, please?
Okay, so for those on cell phones, do you know how you take a screenshot on your cell phone? So if you are logged into a Zoom meeting on your cell phone, you would use your screenshot function. Obviously, everyone's got different phones, and I know that different phones have different methods. Some you press 2 buttons, some have a drop down where you press screenshot. So if you don't know, my advice is to go to your nearest cell phone store and ask them how you screenshot. For those of you on a laptop or a computer, you will see on the right-hand side, right at the top of your keyboard. So if you have a look right at the top of your keyboard, there's a little button that says PRTSC. Now that is your print screen button. So once everybody's got their grid view and their videos on, you would press that print screen button. Now what that basically does is it copies what's on your screen. You would then open a Word document and you would paste it in there. So for safety reason, I suggest that before a meeting, make sure that your Word document is open. It's a blank one and it's there on your screen, right at the bottom. The second you've done the print screen, open up that Word document and paste straight away, because you might lose that picture in between. You cannot take multiple prints. So if you're looking at taking during the meeting, my suggestion is, again, now that you've got it open at the bottom, you would print screen and paste. The second time you would print screen and paste, then it's the different picture. If you take 3 or 4 print screens and you try and paste 3 or 4 pictures, it's going to paste the same picture. So it's got to be pasted into your Word document a few seconds after you've taken it. Okay. Does that answer?
And for those, yes, Claire, thank you. Thanks, Claire. That was for Windows, right?
That's for,
and for those,
that's for Windows. And then
yes.
obviously on cell phones, however you take a screenshot, you would then use that button, and that will save automatically to your gallery. So you can take multiple pictures on a cell phone, but on the laptop, you need to be able to take a screenshot and paste it.
Awesome, awesome. And if you are using a Mac, what you do is there's Control and there's Shift. You press Control, Shift at the same time, and the third, like the second hand, will go to number 3. You press the number 3, and that way, like it will save that information just like directly to your folder. Mine goes directly to the desktop. Yeah. And if you want to copy, if you want to take a screenshot of a selected part, it's Control Shift and 4, and then you will be able to drag your cursor to the screen that you want to take. So it's Control Shift and 3 for everything, and it will go directly to the desktop, and you can take as much as possible. Remember, as Claire mentioned, you need to mix them up. Have crazy one, have fun pictures. You as a camera person, a cameraman, camera woman, you need to tell them, now let's take the crazy one. Then everyone will go crazy. They won't know what to do. They do whatever. Then like as they're doing whatever, then you take. They say, oh, but we were not ready. That time when they're not ready, you take a picture. You see, just like that. So that's how you can make like you can take your screenshots. Any other challenges that you are having?
I see that Linda said if you don't know how to work with Zoom or your phone, just Google a question or go to YouTube or ask somebody with a similar phone. And that's exactly it. We need to use our resources to enhance our role and to make our lives a bit easier when we are performing the role. I see Tazina has a question.
Yes, I do. Thank you very much, Claire. I just wanted to ask about the pictures, like permissions around pictures. What happens if you want to take a picture of everyone in the room, whether it's a hybrid or it's Zoom online, but then you need, how do you go around or how you get around permissions, like getting everyone's permission to actually take the picture? What if they don't want their picture?
That's a very
online?
good, that's a very good question. My suggestion then is obviously, as you'll see on the screen now, is even by telling them to leave the cameras off, their names are all going to be there on the screen. You would then perhaps, if anyone is really against it, you would ask everyone to stay on for a photo and that you state that it will be shared on your social group. And then you might find those people that don't want their picture shared will drop off. That's the best thing I can do. Alternatively, you can take the picture and then when you are going to share it, you just contact each person and ask. If they don't want it, that brings in a new task of editing out certain pictures as well. Okay, just before we go into the last portion, I would just like to remind everybody, please, in the chat, Lebogang has posted the SAA's WhatsApp support group. But a little bit further up, I would like everybody to please sign the attendance register. I'm going to post it down at the bottom again.
I just did.
Oh, did you as well? Sorry,
yes.
It hadn't refreshed for me and I posted it. So you've got it twice, 2 times twice. So now there is no excuse for missing it. It's to acknowledge that you were in the training. So please remember to fill it out so that your club gets the accreditation for you attending here. And obviously for those new clubs, that's vital for you, because the second you hit a minimum of 4 members, you get that DCP goal. We're just going to move on now to the resources section, and we will have a time to chat again at the end. It's the short session, but we do have limited time. We don't want to keep you too much on your Saturday morning. So I'm just going to continue with the presentation, and then we will have another Q&A right at the end. So we ended off at the other slide. Can everybody, hopefully everybody can see the responsibility action plan on their screen. So you,
yes, you
can, great. So you as the Zoom master, the sergeant at arms, your responsibility action plan, when you are fulfilling your task and your role, how will you fulfill your responsibilities? When will you need to complete each action? Between meetings, during meetings, this is all up to you. Who is available to help you? Have you called on your fellow EXCO members? Have you called on your fellow club members to help you? And then what materials and resources can you use? The very important thing is to remember, as Sergeant at Arms, when you have physical meetings, you will have the assets of the club. You will have the banners, the trophies, the lectern, the gavel, the lights that go along with it, and certain banners, flyers, badges, etc. That will all be in your assets that you as a Sergeant at Arms has to carry around. So what materials do you need to take to each meeting, and what resources can you use? And that will lead us into our next section on resources for the SAA. Right there at the top, toastmasters.org. Log on to Toastmasters, look at the resources available, read through the material. There is training material there. You'll see at the bottom, there's quite a long link as well. There is Zoom training. There is Sergeant at Arms training. So use toastmasters.org and go and spend some time exploring the resources. It might not only help you in your SAA role, but also in other roles that you may need to perform. Secondly, we've got COTi. COTi is a vital resource because you get to meet other members, you get important links sent to you. You get resource links sent to you, which we will do obviously on the SAA group. So come to the COTi. You will learn something new every time, refresh your memory as well. Of course, what we refer to as the font of all knowledge is Google. You can type Toastmasters and anything else after that, and it'll throw up a whole list of pages. But also be very careful when you use Google like that to just make sure there is a reference to Toastmasters in there. I think a very underutilized resource is your outgoing and your current EXCO. Lean on them. Ask them if they're outgoing EXCO members, ask them for the advice. What have they experienced? What tips and tricks have they got? And obviously your current EXCO in terms of assistance on the day, before, during meetings, etc.
Claire?
Yes.
Just to add, right? Because the members who are in this course, they are new clubs. Yes. So there might not be the outgoing EXCO. Correct. So they need to speak with the club sponsors and the mentors for the club.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And that's a great point as well, Lebogang, because remember, I referred in the beginning to Toastmasters as being a family. You can call on almost anyone because Toastmasters love paying it forward. We love paying it forward. So you can contact, if your club coach is not available or your club mentor is your first port of call is not available, contact someone else. You are on VPE groups, you are on corporate club groups, you are on meetings and roles groups, you will be on the Sergeant at Arms group. Lean on fellow members across the world for help as well, and never feel that any question is silly. We are all here to learn, we are here to grow together. The next one down on our resources list is the Club Leadership Handbook. and it's got the item 1310. And then the Distinguished Club Program and Club Success Plan. Now, I did mention I'm going to touch on it just before we go into the Q&A of the Distinguished Club Program. That is your DCP, and why it's so important, and it's a nice way to help your club grow and track. Right down there at the bottom is a very long link, which is for Zoom backgrounds and video recording tutorials. But as mentioned before, if you go onto toastmasters.org and you do a bit of exploring, you will find it on there. So the Q&A we will touch on, but I'm just going to stay on this slide quickly. And I just want to touch on the Distinguished Club Program. If you focus on it, and I've referred to it a couple of times during this event, it is broken down into membership, administration, training, and educational goals. And when you look at each goal in training, the various aspects, so the VPEs, your Vice President of Educations, will get told about the first 6 goals. And the secretaries will get told about the administrative goals. And when I refer to the DCP goals, they are broken down, and that is how you attain your Distinguished Club status. If we can find, sorry about that, by adhering to this and using this as a driving force and a goal-setting method, you can take your club to distinguished status. And one of the core elements is your club office training, your COT, having a minimum of 4 members on each of the COTs during the year, as I mentioned. If you haven't seen the DCP, go onto the Toastmasters page, and under leadership performance, you will see distinguished performance. And have a click on that, type in your club name and have a look. It is available even if you haven't logged into Pathways or anything like that. It is there on the front page as well. We are going to have a Q&A session, but what I'll do is, for reference, I'll just put the end slide up. This effectively concludes the session minus the Q&A, which we're going to have now, but that's just the end of the slide show. Is there anyone with any questions?
If you don't have questions, we will ask you questions.
Yes, we will ask you questions. Are you going to do the Q&A? Don't tell them, right, I hope you know the club mission off by heart. Go.
What's the third word on the first sentence of the club mission?
Is there anybody? Just remember, Toastmasters is about fun as well. We're here to enjoy ourselves and have a good time. No questions. You mean we did that well, Lebogang? We did that well. There's no more questions.
It looks like that. It looks like that. Wow. No, okay. I see Linda.
No, she just said, thank you, all good. Has my first question for everybody. I have a question for everybody. Have you signed the register?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, there we got an answer. Look at that. Awesome.
And the next question, have you joined the WhatsApp group, the SAA WhatsApp group?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Okay, cool stuff. No pressure. We will share the slides and the recording later in those. Let me say the link to the recording in that WhatsApp group.
Yes. Nobody have any questions? Guess what I just did, guys? I just did a print screen. Although it was just for everyone's names for record purposes. Would we like to all practice and switch on our cameras because we are the Sergeant at Arms team here? Would everybody like to switch on their cameras? Let's have a photo op. Oh, there's a question. Pussy Musi. Have you got a question?
Yes. I just wanted to know regarding to your recordings, will the link be sent later on or during, so that maybe one can always come back to actually go through the session that we're having now?
We're going to email it out?
No, we won't email, but we will put it in the group, the WhatsApp group.
Oh, the WhatsApp group.
Yes.
Okay. No, thank you so much.
The link will be in the WhatsApp group.
No,
and some other.
Nosip was in bed.
Again?
Nosip was in bed. She's not going to switch on her camera.
Okay. Sure. I've got a question. Oh, I see we are left with 5 minutes.
Yes.
My question to everyone is, when you take a picture, what view do you use? Remember, like there's the focus on, right? Maybe we didn't go into the focus, but that's like delving too much into Zoom. That's delving too much into Zoom. Like about doing the pins. You sometimes have to pin. You'll be asked to pin. So some of these things, just feel free to play around with Zoom. Remember, you can pin one person with the speaker at a time, or you can pin 2 people. How you pin is that you right-click on the, or like you click on the 3 dots. If you're on a laptop, there'll be 3 dots on the top right-hand corner of your screen. And you can only do this if you're a host or a co-host. So you click those 3 dots and then you'll see pin. Then you can pin the person. So that person will fill the screen of like everyone will be seeing that person as they are speaking. And you can add the second person. Let's say a timer, for example. Some people have like a vocal diarrhea. They join Toastmasters being shy, but immediately after delivering the icebreaker and the research, you can't stop them. They go on and on. So like it's important to you as a Zoom master to pin that person and also pin you pin the person and pin the timer so that they can see the timer as well. Because otherwise you find a person doing an icebreaker speaking for 12 minutes. Icebreaker is 4 to 6 minutes. So that can happen. So just be careful and just remember that you are in control and you can make the meeting fun and exciting.
Is this all that's putting on their cameras? Okay, well, we're going to have a smile because before we get kicked off in the middle, because we are not the main hosts for this. Is nobody else going to switch on their cameras? Linda, I know you had your camera on earlier. I know your hair is brushed. We've given you all enough time to brush your hair now. There we go. Musi Musi is sideways. Zina is...
Nozipo is in bed.
Nozipo's in bed. We know she's not coming on. There's Linda. Awesome. Brenda. Ayanda, are you coming? All right. We're going to have to do it because I'm scared we're going to get kicked out. Everybody smile.
I didn't hear my name. Am I on?
Rumbi, you are on. I can see you. Great, guys. I'm going to post that and we'll post it into the WhatsApp group. Let me just post it into my spreadsheet over here to make sure that it is yes. I am looking in the opposite direction, but it's fine. Well, thank you so much from my side. It's been wonderful to have you all. And of course, if you've got any questions, you can either...
But you can see everyone.
We can see almost everyone. But thank you so much and enjoy your Saturday further. Lebogang, it's been a pleasure.
The pleasure's mine, Claire. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you so much.
Everyone, let's unmute ourselves. Let's give Claire a round of applause, please.
Yay!
Woo!
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Please
Thank
don't
you,
forget to
Lebo.
sign the register, everyone. If you still haven't, it's very important. Okay.
Yes, the link. We won't share the link in the WhatsApp group
I
for
think
the
so as
register.
well.
We only say it here. It's only here.
Yes, it's
So
only
if you're
here.
having issues, yes.
So this is the only
If you're
time
having
you can
issues,
sign it.
Lebohang, please check your WhatsApp and respond to me, ne? Malisela.
Malisela, how do you know my name? Like, how do you know my number?
I do because you are in our EXCO group.
Which exco group?
SARS one.
Oh, SARS. Oh, okay,
Yes,
okay, yes, okay.
I also often think that. But thank you so much, everyone. And if you've got any questions, you're welcome to copy. You know what I'm going to do is if you need to WhatsApp me, this is my number to WhatsApp me on. So you are welcome to take it down if you need to WhatsApp or ask any other questions. But otherwise, thank you. Fantastic session. Thank you for interacting. Thank you for asking questions. And I look forward to seeing you guys at the next COT. Either in the SAA role or another one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rumbi, the recording will be sent. The link for the recording will be sent.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Next COT will be in the beginning of next year. This was just a mini extra COT. So the next COT will be in the beginning of next year. It's normally around February.
Yeah, the first week of February.
Yeah.
This one was a special one for the new clubs.
Yes. And there's normally a division one as well as a district COT. So you have plenty of opportunities. And remember, it's important to attend for your DCP, for your club, and especially for your personal growth. Thank you, everybody. And being the Sergeant at Arms, we now call this meeting closed.